What's going on, gang? I hope all is well. It's been a while, so I had to come back and hit you with a brand new video. In this video, we're going to be talking about CSGO, doing a quick overview of how it's scored over on PrizePicks and ways that you can do a little bit of research to gain an edge when locking in your CSGO entries over on PrizePicks. Now, if you don't play on PrizePicks yet, now's a fantastic time to sign up. They're still doing a 100% instant deposit match on your first deposit up to $100. So quite simply, you put in 100, they'll match it, giving you $200 to get you started. And with NFL season right around the corner, now's a fantastic time to sign up. So definitely check out prizepicks.com today. Use promo code Curry, just like you see at the bottom of the banner of this video. And I'll leave a link down in the description below. Also down in the description will be links to the free Discord community that I offer, Patreon, where you can go and get even more content. I've been pumping out CSGO cheat sheets every day, MLB pitching prop cheat sheets for you every single day. So if you want more content and you want to help support me as a content creator, Patreon is the way to go. I'll leave a link down in the description of that. Also a link to Twitter where you could give me a follow if you want to keep up with everything that I've got going on. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. I think you're going to enjoy this, especially if you're looking for new ways to play over on PrizePicks. If you're not subscribed yet, hit subscribe now, turn on notifications, and if this video helps you out, give it a thumbs up, as that really makes me happy. It just does. All right, so without further ado, CSGO on PrizePicks. What is CSGO? Counter-Strike Global Offensive. It is a first-person shooter multiplayer game that is played professionally, mostly overseas, over in Europe, but it does have a following here in the US, but definitely a lot more popular in other countries than it is here. But basically the premise of the game is it's 5-on-5. One team is the T team. In other words, they're trying to go plant a bomb at a bomb site, and the other team is the counter T team. So they're trying to stop the bomb from being planted. So that's the premise of the game. The way that it's scored here on PrizePicks is simply just kills. So that's all that they're recording. Kills. So you're trying to pick the overs and the unders on kills over on PrizePicks. So if you look at some of these props that they have up right now, somebody like Nico, for instance, they've got him up at 40.5 kills. Now the way this is scored is they look at maps 1 and 2. So it's a best of 3 format with CSGO, meaning if a team like G2 eSports wins the first 2 maps, then it will not go to a third map. They have swept that series and the game is over. The match is over. So we just kind of need to figure out, is 40.5 kills for Nico too high or too low? Do we need to go over or do we need to go under? So it's a pretty straightforward, simple way to play. These games can go into overtime. At times they do. It's kind of rare, but when you get 2 competitive teams going back and forth, trading round for round, the games can go into overtime, and that's great, obviously, if you're taking any overs on anyone. So let's get into one of the sites that I kind of start things off with when I'm doing my research, and that is gg.bet/en. Now, this website is pretty overwhelming. There's a lot going on here, but this site has pretty much everything you could possibly want to know in terms of any type of esports betting. So if you scroll on down here, the quick way to kind of filter some things out is over on the left-hand side, you'll see all of the different esports that you can bet on. Well, we're only interested in Counter-Strike. So in this case, we would just check mark that box and it would filter out all of the other esports on their site, just showing us what's going on here for Counter-Strike CSGO. So if you scroll down here, you can get an idea of, a team like Movie Star Riders versus Wisla Krakow and the score of the map 1. You can see how the second round or second map is being handicapped here. You can see their projection, betting odds for how many rounds that the second map will go. If you click in on this, let's go to a game that hasn't started yet, like G2 and 4s. You can click in and you can see that they're a -114 to win. They're a -113 to win. So you can see it's probably going to be pretty evenly contested match here between these 2 teams. You can scroll down here. They've got props for all types of stuff here. For the match, for map 1, for map 2, total, the handicap, dynamic market. So if you scroll down, get all the information you could possibly want to know here on the different betting odds for the different props. So that's a quick way to kind of get an idea of how people are betting on these teams. Obviously, if there's like a team that's a huge favorite, that's going to be a blowout, then, you know, maybe you don't want to take overs because you may not see as many rounds or as many maps in a particular matchup. So that's something to consider. Now, the main site that you're probably going to be using here for your research is Hltv.org. Now, where I like to go to get started, this is just my workflow. You can do things however you want. This is another one of those sites where it's just overwhelming. I mean, the amount of information that you could possibly look up here on Hltv is just over the top. So we're going to try and keep it high level, keep it simple. You can get very granular, very in the weeds on your research as you can with any traditional sport. But for this video, we're going to try and keep it high level. So we're going to go to matches. Now here you're able to research the matches on the day. You can see a lot of these have already started. So let's go to one that hasn't started yet. We'll look at G2 again versus Forza. And I am a control click fiend when it comes to this site. So it opens up a new tab anytime you control click on something. And then you kind of get this little home page here of G2, Forza, and then you've got all the different Twitch links. If you want to watch the match in real time, you can. But I'm going to control click G2, control click Forza, and you can see that we've got all the individual players for their respective rosters here across the top. Now I'm going to go back to this main tab here and show you around. You can scroll down here. There's a little PrizePicks link. Of course, we already play on PrizePicks, so we don't need to click that, but it gives you a little bit of a breakdown of the lineups here. You can click on any of these individual players. Maybe it's a Manek, if I'm saying that right, Flit, and then it'll give you a quick breakdown of their individual statistics. If you go down here, you could get some map stats. Depending on which map that these respective teams select more often than not, you can kind of see how they've been winning, how they've been performing on said maps. And then you could look at their matches over the last 3 months here. A lot of win-loss records and all that. And then you can see how they've done against each other head-to-head. These two teams have never met head-to-head, so we don't have any historical head-to-head data to look at according to Hltv. So if we scroll back up here, go to Analytics Center. This is one of my favorite places to go for research. Scroll on down here. It gives you a quick analytics summary. So you've got G2 pros and cons, Forza pros and cons. And on the G2 side, G2 has better form ranking. G2 is better ranked. They're the number 3 ranked team. And then over on the Forza side, Forza has won 3 out of their last 5 matches, and Forza is also a worst ranked team at number 16 in the world. So got the number 3 team versus the number 16 team. Should be a pretty competitive match. If you scroll down here, this is kind of interesting, something that I lean on heavily here. You can look at their 3-month player rating. Now this player rating is kind of similar to like a kill death ratio, if you're familiar with that from other first person shooter games, but this one is a little bit more in depth. It encompasses a little bit more than just your kill death ratio. So this is a good simple metric to kind of determine how well a player has been performing in some of his recent games. So you can see like in the 3-month window here, he was a 1.19 player rating, but in this event that they are currently in, he is a better rated player in this event than he has been in the last 3 months. So his form is on the uptick. It's going upward, which is a good thing. You want players, especially if you're targeting overs, to be showing good form in their more recent matches. So that is the case here with Nico's 1.19 up to 1.3. That's a fantastic rating. Any type of rating around 1 is about average, so anything above 1 is kind of considered above average. Now, on the flip side here, you could see someone like Jerry, who is a 1.07 rated player. He's down to a 0.93 during this event, meaning that he is trending downward, showing poor form in some of his recent matches. So just kind of something to consider here. I lean on these ratings quite a bit when determining if I'm taking overs and unders. I also like to look at these players and kind of how they rank in the pecking order on their team. So someone like Jerry, at least in this event, at a 0.93, he is the 5th rated, 5th ranked player on his team, meaning that I'm probably more likely to take an under on a guy like him than I would be an over, because he's not the alpha on his team. He's not one of the lead fraggers on his team. That would be Zort in this situation, or Nico on the other team, G2. So if we scroll down here, you can look at some of the handicap data for the past 3 months, kind of get an idea of how many matches they've played, how many maps they've played, and some of their percentages. We could scroll down a little bit more. You get map handicaps for both teams. Go down even further, and map stats is kind of important because it shows you which map that these teams are most likely to pick in a given situation. So in this case, some quick and dirty little details here on G2. They're on a 4-map losing streak on Dust 2, so that's not very good. They pick Dust 2 20% of the time, but their first pick is typically Mirage, as is the case with Force. So most likely we will see these two teams square off on Mirage just based on the percentages for their first pick. Now you can also look at their first ban, meaning which map do they ban, which map do they never play on typically, and that is 98% of the time for G2 Overpass. They ban Overpass, meaning they don't want to play on Overpass. Now you combine that with the situation where Fours has only picked Overpass 1% of the time, and we're most likely not going to see Overpass. But if you look at Fours' first ban, it's going to be Vertigo. So that's just kind of a quick overview. Some of the team research that you can do here, looking at things like the money line, which team is favored to win, looking at how many rounds that these respective teams are expected to go. And you can again get all that information on gg.bet/EN. And then you could do some additional research here on Hltv. Now you want to get into some of the individual player research. Well, that's where this comes in. So I will control click on Nico. I told you, control click is going to be your best friend. Opening up new tabs, keeping your other tabs open is super clutch. So we'll take a look at Nico real quick. Now they've got a number of different tabs that you can look at here. Everything from just a overview for different statistics for him. So his rating 2.0, his kills per round, his headshots, maps played, deaths per round, rounds contributed. But for PrizePicks purposes, we're just looking at kills. So we're trying to determine over or under on how many kills he has. So I'll click complete statistics for Nico, and then I'll click his matches. And then I get into his matches here, and I'm interested in the map 1 and 2, which are the bottom two you have here. And if you add those numbers together and you divide them by however many rounds, you could get like a last 3 game, last 5 game sample size. So you do 30 plus 23 plus 9 plus 29 plus 27 plus 23, divide by 3. That'll kind of give you an average of how many kills he has had in maps 1 and 2 in his last 3 matches. So those averages can be very helpful. Another thing that you could do that can be very helpful is changing this from all maps. And if you have a pretty good read on which maps G2 might end up playing on, or their opponent might end up picking, you can filter them out by maps and see how a player performs on a specific map. You can even change this from top 5 teams. You want to see how Nico performs against top 5 teams, top 10 teams, 20, 30, 50 teams. You can do that as well. See if he plays better when he's going against tougher competition, plays worse against tougher competition. And then you can also change this from an all-time rating, meaning over the course of his career, at least as far back as these statistics go on Hltv, his rating is 1.15. Let's say you just wanted to look at the last 3 months. You can see his rating is better in the last 3 months than it is versus all time. You could even change this from last 3 to last month. And in the last month, his rating is at 1.3. So he is trending up from all time to 3 months to his last month. So you can kind of get an idea how well he's been playing. And they also have another filter here where you could filter between LAN, online, big events, majors, and you could see how well he performs in all those various circumstances. But I don't want to make this video too long. I just wanted to share some of the research tips, some of the sites that I have found that have worked for me. I have had some success with CSGO, so wanted to pass those things along. All these sites are free. All it takes is a little bit of time, a little bit of know-how. And if you, again, want more content, I put together cheat sheets every day for CSGO. So if you're interested, definitely hit the link down in the description below. If this video helped you out, give it a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed and notifications turn on. NFL content is coming soon. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.